Imagine a world where your access to education was determined not by your ability, but by the color of your skin. Think about the power of a single decision to reshape an entire society. That is exactly what happened with the United States Supreme Court and school segregation. Yes, Supreme Court decisions played a crucial and foundational role in legally ending school segregation in the United States. Landmark rulings from the Supreme Court provided the legal framework that dismantled segregationist laws and policies, though the actual implementation took many years. The core mechanism behind this change lies in the court's interpretation of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, specifically its Equal Protection Clause. This clause declares that no state shall deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. For decades, the court had upheld a doctrine known as separate but equal, which permitted racial segregation as long as the separate facilities for each race were theoretically equal. However, the reality was that segregated facilities were rarely equal and almost always inferior for black students. The pivotal moment arrived with the unanimous 1950 decision in Brown versus Board of Education. In this groundbreaking case, the court declared that separate educational facilities are inherently unequal. This ruling fundamentally overturned the separate but equal doctrine as it applied to public education, signaling a clear shift in how the nation would approach civil rights. The court recognized that state-sanctioned segregation in schools instilled a sense of inferiority in minority children, which could never be undone. This decision was a legal earthquake. Following Brown versus Board of Education, the court issued a follow-up ruling a year later, known as Brown 2, which instructed states to desegregate with all deliberate speed. This phrase, however, unfortunately allowed for significant delays in many areas. Subsequent decisions, such as Green versus County School Board of New Kent County in 1968, pressed for more immediate and effective desegregation efforts, moving beyond token compliance. These cases provided legal tools that civil rights activists and organizations could use to challenge continued segregation in local courts. So while Supreme Court decisions did not instantly eliminate segregation, they provided the essential legal authority and moral impetus. These rulings clarified that segregation in public schools was unconstitutional, giving individuals and groups the legal standing to demand integration. They laid the groundwork for dismantling a deeply entrenched system, ultimately paving the way for a more inclusive and equitable educational landscape across the country.
If you're into this, like, subscribe, and drop a comment.